Chapter 17. Alex felt Matt rise, but she didn't open her eyes just yet. She waited until she heard the bathroom door click shut before stirring. Then she got up and folded her blankets, putting them on top of the ones Matt had folded before he'd left. Bobby snored lightly from his spot on the couch. JV opened the bedroom door and came into the living room. She stood and looked around. She had already showered and dressed. She headed to the kitchen to start breakfast. Alex joined her while waiting for her turn in the bathroom. Together they cooked bacon, sausage, biscuits, scrambled eggs, gravy, and of course coffee. As people got up, they came in, fixed a plate, and sat down to eat. Once the cooking was done, JV and Alex ate as well. Steve and Bobby cleaned up the kitchen and washed the dishes. At exactly 9 o'clock, Matt's cell rang. "That will be the group from Yellowstone," Steve said as Matt hurried into the living room where he'd left his phone. "They need the time and place." Matt looked to Steve for instructions. "Tell them 10:30. That will give us time to get there and in position before the meet," JV said to her brother. "Got it." Matt slid his thumb across the screen to answer the call. "Hello," he said into the phone. The call was brief, only long enough for him to give the specifics and directions to the section of the park that had been decided on the night before. A moment later he disconnected and turned to Steve. "All done. They said they'll be there in an hour and a half." "Then we'd better get moving." He turned and went to gather whatever they would be taking with them. Less than 15 minutes later, they were in the truck and on the road. They arrived at the park almost an hour before the meet was scheduled. Alex and JV stayed with Rebecca. They walked slowly, so to the average observer, it looked like they were just out for a stroll. They made their way from the parking lot to a nearby picnic area. The men took off in different directions, checking the area to make sure there was no one lurking around or hiding in the area, watching and waiting for the possibility of attacking later. It might be a little far-fetched, but Alex knew that Nick wasn't willing to take any chances with the safety of his mate or child. The girls made it to where the meet was to take place, a group of picnic tables not too far from the parking area. Just under half an hour after they arrived, Nick and Matt joined the women at the picnic table where they sat, waiting. "Looks clear," Nick said as he sat beside Rebecca. She took a deep breath and let it out slowly. She sat on the bench of a picnic table, but backwards, facing away from the table instead of towards it. The position let her lean back against the table, resting her back and making the seat a little more comfortable. "Good." She rubbed one hand over the hard mound of her stomach. "I hope this doesn't become some big issue. I just want to get it done." "I know, baby." Nick leaned over and dropped a light kiss on her cheek. Leaving one arm wrapped around her shoulders, he sat beside her, offering the comfort of knowing he was at her side. "Alex." He looked up. "The Shaku wants you out there." His eyes flicked toward where Steve stood about 20 feet away. "He's got an assignment for you." Without a word, Alex stood and made her way to the head of security to get her instructions. She listened to his instructions, then stood and watched as he went to join the group at the table.